Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening to you wherever you are in the world. It's a beautiful sunny 10 a.m. here on a Wednesday in Sydney. If you're over the other side of the Atlantic, I believe it's yesterday. So the future is looking bright for you guys. I'm Alex Morris. I want to introduce you and say what's up. Welcome you all to Bob Proctor's Principles for Success workshop. We could not be more excited. The reason Katrina and I are here right now is that we are blessed and honored to be hosting this event for you today, hosting and sponsoring it. Myself as the founder of To The Moon Digital and Katrina as the founder of the Empowered Celiac. We're just going to spend 2 or 3 minutes while the main event gets ready to introduce ourselves to you, tell you a little bit about the workshop, a little bit about why we're sponsoring the event and kind of our own past histories with Bob Proctor and with Susanna. So Katrina, really, really great to have you here today.
Oh, it's so amazing to be here. So thank you so much, Alex. I am just so excited for everybody to get to hear and learn from these two extraordinary human beings. I am the founder of the Empowered Celiac, and it's a great honor to sponsor this event. So the Empowered Celiac is about helping empower people who've been newly diagnosed with celiac disease and help them rise above gluten. And it's very aligned to the work that Susanna and Bob and Brian have done and carried throughout their whole life, which is really about helping people live a beautiful, prosperous, abundant life. And my workings with Susanna over the course of time, I did her program back in 2021 when it was a very challenging time for many of us. And I live in Melbourne. So I honestly can put my hand on my heart and say, Susanna and the work that I did with Susanna really helped me elevate during that time when there was so much outside of my control. She helped remind me that I am in control of what's up here. And I think that today you're going to really get some tools and strategies, everybody participating in this, to help you prosper throughout life. And in terms of Brian, I have been a huge fan of Brian ever since first discovering him. Bob, I've been a huge fan of Bob ever since discovering him through the movie The Secret. And my husband and I, we took part in the Science of Getting Rich program as well. And Bob just oozed love and beauty and wisdom and calm. And I know that throughout this workshop today, that everybody's going to feel, see, and experience the essence of Bob through Brian today. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So we're very, very blessed to be part of this together and can't wait for everybody to learn and be inspired through today's workshop. So that's been my experience with Susanna and through Bob's work, and can't wait to hear from Brian today. What about for yourself, Alex?
Yeah, well, I met Brian about 6 minutes ago, and I couldn't be happier. What a lovely dude he is, and everyone here is going to be so blessed to have this one-on-one, almost intimate look behind the scenes at how his life has been shaped by growing up under the same guidance and roof with Bob Proctor, a man we all know from his incredible work. So, yeah, to introduce myself, why I'm here, I'm really, really happy. My company, To The Moon Digital, we were lucky enough to be promoting this event with Susanna. We run a lead generation and promotional company online for coaches, consultants, small business owners who really want to get their name out there by doing stuff like this. So really excited that this one has had a lot of attention because we love to see it. And yeah, I mean, for me, Bob's influence in my life was really about 8 or so years ago when I was running my first iterations of businesses. And we've all been there, where you have an idea and you think this is going to go really, really well. And then you realize that you're the only person who thinks that. No one else really wants what you're selling. And I went through a lot of ups and downs. I went from having a relatively cushy job to living in a horrible apartment where we were stealing the Wi-Fi from downstairs. You know, we had the washing machine ran off into the bathtub. So every time you took a shower, sometimes you get gray water on your feet. And I was driving this unregistered, like a Suzuki Vitara with a hole in the floor and a crack in the windscreen at 4:30 in the morning to go to my cafe job to support my dream business. Around that time, I started listening to You Were Born Rich, the Bob Proctor program. And just on those days when everything felt so hard, it kind of helped to steady my mind and let me realize that there's so much more within me. And just a few years later, really, really happy with where my life and business is going right now. So it's been incredible. And even one of my staff members is so funny. She started working with us about a month ago, and she's massive on the law of attraction. And she said that she watched The Secret and she always wanted to work with Bob. And then about a month after she started working here, she's working with Brian. So incredible stuff. This stuff really, really works. And everyone here, we'll leave it there from us. We're so excited for you to see the power of what's going to happen when Brian and Susanna combine their minds together for this incredible workshop. So we're so blessed to have you. Stick around for the whole thing. It's going to be incredible. And without further ado, let's bring on the main event, Mr. Brian Proctor and Susanna Mihailovich. Really, really excited to have you. Virtual applause. Let's do it.
Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Susanna. Good to see you.
Great to see you too. It's so good to be here. And wasn't that just a great intro from Alex and Katrina? Alex has been working on behind the scenes, helping us out, and Katrina with her movement with the Empowered Celiac and To the Moon Digital. What a great job. Thank you so much, Alex and Katrina.
Yeah, I got to say, just listening to Alex and his story and where he came from and where he is now, that's really impressive. I just love hearing stories like that where people have really gone out, bet on their dream, and have made it. That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And I was thinking about Alex this morning and Bob and preparing to be here with you. And I thought, wow, Bob would be so proud of that story, because he loved young people in business, young people going for their dream and really focused and making things happen. So welcome, Brian. Welcome, everybody. I cannot tell you how important this event is to me, is to us, and to be here with one of my dearest friends and mentors, Brian Proctor, is just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Well, I got to say, for everybody watching, I have known Susanna for quite a few years, and you are a special individual. I will tell you that. My father loved you, and he loved working with you. So to be here, I guess, really in his place, I know he'd be looking down and very happy that I'm here supporting you, because he always supported you. He thought you were one of the most special women he's ever met. So it's great to be here. I would love, if you don't mind, sharing kind of your story, of where you came from and how you got into all of this. I think it'd be really nice to hear.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. Those words mean the world to me. And the reason why this is just incredible that you and I are here together is my story. So I studied psychology and counseling, was in senior management in the helping professions for over 20, close to 30 years of my whole career, and always knew that there was something more. Even as a child, I wanted to be doing this work, and absolutely loved your father, Bob. As soon as I can't even remember where I first heard about Bob Proctor, but I do remember driving to my job, work for a great organization. And I think some of our people here today, that are watching us today would really resonate with this. So work for a great organization. We were helping families, vulnerable families, but it just wasn't it. My dream was to be on stage with the one and only Bob Proctor. My dream was to sow into other people, to be an international leader in connecting with spirits, helping people, like the spirit inside us. I mean, not spirits, in the energetic realm. Connecting to people's spirits and helping them achieve greatness. And for years and years, I'd be driving to work in the traffic, and I'd be listening to Bob on the way to work and on the way home. Never had the radio on, nothing else, and I would be dreaming. I would be imagining being on stage with your beautiful father, Bob Proctor, and we were on stage together for that 30 minutes, and we were great friends too. And that was my dream. And then when I got to work, I wasn't the senior manager in my role. I was the consultant, the international consultant, helping the teams in our workforce break through, achieve greater results, the person that was on stage with Bob. And I was really afraid of leaving work to start my own business because I've never been in business before. But also I had $500,000. I was $500,000 in debt. Good debt. I didn't have bad debt, good debt, 2 mortgages, but nevertheless, it was still debt. And I was never without a job. So long story short, I decided to quit. I decided to quit my full-time job. January 31st, 2017 was my last day of full-time employment. And then became a consultant, and here we are today. I have so many emails from your incredible father, Bob. I just absolutely adored him. We got to know each other. He was not only my mentor, he became my friend. And I did share the stage with him on a couple of occasions. So how does that happen? How does that happen? Bob Proctor had millions of followers. He lived in Canada. I was from Melbourne. I was from a humble Serbian family in Australia, Australian Serbian family. I was born in Australia. We don't achieve things like that. That's what their paradigm is. How does that happen?
Well, I'm going to cut in and tell you how that happens. You were an action taker. That's how that happens. My father he loved action takers. Anybody that was out in the world trying to make it happen, trying to help other people, that's what he gravitated to. And I think I go back to the times when I first met you several years ago. I'd say here in Toronto. I'm not in Toronto any longer, but in Toronto is where I met you for the first time, I believe. And yes. I can remember sitting with my father and him talking about you, Susanna. And he was saying, this girl is out there making it happen. She's out helping people. She's showing people how to live a better life. Wow, that's, he was so impressed by that. That's how you got his attention. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And my God, they're just such special memories. And for anybody, that's watching, you're never, ever underestimate your dream. Never underestimate the power of imagination and aligning with what you want. See, and what I didn't realize, Brian, during that time that I was dreaming while I was going to work, I was actually applying Bob's principles, Bob's success principles. Decide what you want, have a big, big, big goal, a fantasy that's impossible. That was an impossible dream. That was an absolute impossible dream, to the point that I did not dare share it with anyone, just in case they were like, oh, who do you think you are? And imagination is so powerful, and absolutely then took some risks and got uncomfortable and took a lot of action.
Wow, that's impressive. Here's the big thing that I've learned over the years that I worked with my father, is that so few people actually have a big goal, a goal that is so big that people would think you're crazy.
Yes.
And that's the deal. He always said that if you want to change your life, if you want to get on and do something really big, you've got to have a big goal, and it should be a goal that other people will look at you like you're crazy, and you'll think, I have no idea how to get there. That's a worthy goal. And if you step into it, which is what you did, and you just keep taking a step at a time, you don't know how you're going to get there, but you keep working it, eventually you get there. And you did. I remember being in that little room. You may want to share, but in that small room, we had a training going on with consultants, and we had a small breakout room, for lack of better words, where there might have been 10 people tops, and these were the top people, the top. And I can remember you coming into that room and my father having you sit right next to him. I mean, that kind of says it all right there.
Wow, absolutely. That was there were so many turning points, so many. And for everybody that's watching, you know, please take out what is resonating with you, because we are here for you. Okay, so why are you here today? What is it that you want to get out of this? And as we share our stories, as we share the secrets that have been passed down to us from the incredible Bob Proctor, see how it resonates with you. Are there any pain points that come up as we share these stories? What is it that you need to be doing? Because we are here for you. And Brian, you are so right. I will never, ever forget that moment. So I was in business probably for about 18 months at that time. And I was sick and tired of myself. I was really sick and tired of myself. I knew that I was better. I was in senior management. I've got all these degrees. I've been working with people all my life. This was a dream since I was a child, to help people break through. It's something that I do naturally. But I was absolutely sick and tired of myself. My paradigms, and we'll talk more about paradigms, were so strong. They were so job related, where you go to work and you get a paycheck, right? That's how you are. That's how you earn an income. That it was just crazy. And we had training, and I promised myself I'd attend every training, but I was redrawing out of my mortgages to the point where I felt ashamed of myself, and I only had X amount left, and I was going to pay for the airfare. And I looked at my incredible partner, Mark, who's a very successful businessman himself, so he understands. And I said, Mark, I don't think I can go to this training. I've redrawn too much. And without a blink, he said, I don't think you can afford not to. You either treat this as a business and do whatever it takes, risk everything if you need to, if it's your passion, if it's your purpose, or you quit right now. Mm-hmm. So I thought, right, that's all I needed. All right, I booked those flights. And you know what? Thank God I did that. Thank God for that little bit of advice, because that was the turning point. I sat there in training and I was sick and tired of myself. And I made a decision. And I knew that, so my desire was so strong. And then I made a decision. And my decision was I was going to be with those 10, 12 people in the Bob Proctor Millionaire Roundtable. And by the way, this Facebook group that you're all in was named after that experience. I was so sick and tired of myself that I made such a strong decision that I will be in there. And I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was going to be in that room with Bob, with the top people. So as everybody was going out to dinner and all the other consultants, and I wanted to catch up with my friends too, I got to work. I worked jet lag until I did not know what else to do. So I gave it over to God. It's over to you. I don't know what else to do, knowing that I was going to be one of the ones in that room. And lo and behold, I was, and I sat next to Bob. And Brian, I've shared this story with you. I will never, ever forget. So before the meeting had started, Bob was sitting there preparing quietly, and his vibration, I could feel it emanating from him. It was like I've never felt that before from another human being. It was confusing. My head was like, I know there's a person there, but the feeling was just absolute serenity. It was angelic. And that experience transformed me. And he gave me some advice that was tough advice.
Mhm.
You know, he told me the truth of where I am, made me very uncomfortable. But what he was doing, he was giving me an emotional impact. And from that day forward, I had changed. And my business skyrocketed from $4,000 to very high six figures within 12 months.
Yeah, see, I think that's impressive. And I'll tell you what impresses me about all of that, Susanna, is a couple of things. Number one, you were willing to make a decision and bet on yourself. And pretty much, like you say, you had to draw out money from a mortgage to get there. The other thing that I think is really valuable to this story is your partner, Mark. The fact that he was supporting you and was behind you and encouraging you. That's a great thing. I think that's something we all need to find, is somebody that really supports us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you did it, you made the decision, you got there, and look how your life has changed from that point on, and how your business has grown, and how, because of the experiences you've gone through, how you can help other people. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. And so there was a marketing company that did research into Your Two Minds, my company. At that time, I had helped 1,600 people. So we have an international company now. We've got Leslie here from Tasmania, Ali from Melbourne. I can see a lot of people from Australia, Angie from the US. You're going to meet some of the Your Two Minds people too. So, and this was a dream of mine. My earliest memory as a child, to have an international company helping people. Miriana's here, you know, so a great global community. So the point is, again, this is, even though we're talking about me, you're all here for you. What is it that you want? What is the big fantasy for you? Why are you here? What is it that you want to have in your life? Because I promise you, if you decide and you dare to go for it, even when you're risking everything, it feels like everything's going to fall apart, right? That one next step, that one thing, just one thing, I decided to go to training. Even though it looked, I was ashamed with my account. That one thing might be the thing that will get you through.
Mm-hmm. But here's the cool thing too, is that one thing, quite frankly, is also why I am here right now, Susanna, when you think about it.
Right.
That's where I really got to know you. And
Yes.
for those of you watching, it'd be no secret, I would be in high demand to be on with anybody talking about programs and what they're doing and how they're helping people. And I can't do that. I can't get on. There's too many calls. There's too many people. But Susanna, for you, like, I am totally on board and ready to be here because I've seen what you've done. I've seen how you have helped people and how you've shown really how somebody can have a dream, but not just dream it, actually go out and get it, and show them the way to it. That's a really special thing. So I'm honored to be here with you, just to because of what you can do for your clients. And I agree. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about all of you watching. And what is it that you really want in your life? And do you have somebody that's supporting your dream? And do you have a coach, for lack of better words, that's helping you get there? I think that's a really important thing to consider.
Really important. That one person can make a difference. One person that can make a difference. So, and just in this short time, we've revealed some of Bob Proctor's secrets. So, shall we go through them? And please add to any that I may miss. But so the first thing is, what do you want? What do you want? Remember, nature's first law, success's first law, is to be clear about what it is that you want. Write it down, okay? Have you made a decision that it is yours? Or before that, how deep is your desire? How deep is my desire? Was so strong that I became it in my car. And when I was at work, I was her. Bob didn't even know I existed at that time, but I was her, right? Okay, so what do you want? How deep is your desire? And have you made a decision to go for it? Are you moving into action? And do you keep going regardless, whether your mortgage is is redrawn? Or will you stop? Because within you, there is greatness. There's absolute greatness. Absolute greatness. And the power of your imagination. Bob Proctor always talked about your higher faculties. I went to, Brian, I studied psychology and counseling, you know, undergraduate, postgraduate. I was in the helping professions for all of my career. Not once has anyone ever spoken to me about my higher faculties. Okay.
Well, most people don't talk to you about your dreams either. And how to chase them, how to actually achieve them. That's a really important piece.
Really important piece, really important piece, 100%. Here I was in the helping professions and we're talking about realistic goals, boring goals. You know, be realistic so you don't fail, right? So there's enormous power within you, every single one of you. What are you going to do with it?
I'd like to, if I can, kind of take this to another direction, if you don't mind, Susanna.
Sure.
I want to share, you know, part of why I'm here is to share some of the things that I've learned from my father over my lifetime. And I think at this point, I think it's, if you don't mind, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a story. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So for those of you that want to get an idea of who Bob Proctor was and what he was about, as Susanna mentioned, I'd written a book about my father called My Father Knew the Secret. And this is one of the stories in the book. And I think, oh, there you go. I think this is an important story. And I'll kind of preface it with, when I was 26 years old, I got into real estate. I was a real estate agent selling homes in the city of Toronto. I was 26, so this is back in 1988. So, you know, a little while ago, 35 years ago. I was a young guy at 26. You know, I had everybody looking at me like, who's going to take you seriously, selling houses to people and all of that. And I was fortunate that, you know, having Bob Proctor as a father, I was always confident and I knew I'd get to where I wanted to go. Well, my first year in the business, I did extremely well. All the naysayers were like, wow, what's he doing? You know, my first month in the business, I earned over $40,000. And that's, you know, 35 years ago as a 26-year-old young guy. And it just kept going up from there. My first year in the business, I made it in the top 100 of agents internationally. And I was at a conference in Palm Desert, California. There was about 2,000 real estate agents there. It was late 1988. And I was sitting right at the front row. It was a real estate training program. And the speaker, his name was Mike Ferry. He was a real estate trainer. I don't know if he's still doing that today or not, but he saw me at the front and he had heard what I was doing. I was a rookie, really. It was my first year in the business. And he asked me up onto the stage. And I stood up there on the stage and he said to me, he says, Brian, can you share with the audience why you are such a big success right out of the gate? What are you doing differently? And I looked at him and I started thinking, wow, you know, it took me back to when I was 9 years old. And this is a lesson that I think all of you should really listen to because it's vitally important. It is how I have lived my life. I learned this at 9 and I've used it ever since. And this is why I was so successful in business. And you can take this simple lesson and apply it to yourself right away. So when I was 9 years old, we moved to Chicago. I was born in Toronto. So I started school in Toronto. We moved to England. So I started a new school in England. We moved back to Toronto in a different area of the city, started a whole new school again. Then we moved to Chicago. Grade 4, I'm in my 4th new school. I was that perpetual new kid in school. And it was uncomfortable. I didn't like it. And I can remember sitting with Dad. I can remember the moment even sitting on the ottoman in the den at this house in Chicago. And I said to him, I said, Dad, I don't even want to go to school. I hate being that new kid. And he just calmed me down and he says, Brian, this is what you do. He says, when you go to school, you just put these 4 letters across the forehead of everybody you're talking to, MMFI. And that stands for make me feel important. He says, if you can make everybody you speak to feel important, feel seen, feel heard, you're going to make friends in a hurry, and you're going to get on in this world in a great way. And he said, don't worry about being the big guy and having to be you. You just take an interest in them. And when somebody tells you a story, if you've done it too, don't try to one up them. Just embrace their story and make them feel good, for whatever it was they did. When you try to one up them, you actually take away from them. So embrace them. And he says, you can even find something to compliment to somebody that you don't even like. You can find something about them that you can compliment them on. So he called this the impression of increase. And I just love that. And basically what the impression of increase is that you leave everybody you come in contact with feeling better because they were in contact with you that day. If you can do that, that's a wonderful thing. So I share this because, part of what we're doing here is we want to share some of the lessons that we learned from Bob Proctor. And this was a simple lesson, but I will tell you, I've used it my entire life. And I know when I got into real estate, that's what I did. I made every client I was working with feel like they were the most special person in the world. And because of that, I easily sold homes. But more importantly, they were referring people to me like crazy because they just loved working with me. When you can make somebody else feel better because they're in your presence, they're going to want to do business with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that story. I love that story. And that's definitely one thing that Bob was brilliant at, wasn't he? Anyone that was in his presence felt great about themselves. Absolutely.
Well, one of the things I loved at the events, and you'll recognize this, and this is how we did it at an event. There could be 1,000 people in the room, and Dad would come off the stage and he'd go into the crowd and he'd put his hand on somebody's shoulder. Yes. And he would just look at them and he would start talking to them. It was like nobody else was in the room. You want to talk about leaving somebody with the impression of increase. Yes. And he would start to talk to that person and engage with them. And boy, oh boy, I mean, that's a gift. And if we can do that, we will get on in this world in a really, really good way.
It is so true. That one piece of advice, that one thing, I believe, would change the whole world. I mean, look at most adults these days. They're, focused on their mortgage, on families, on, stress that we're not present, are we? We're not present. And just by noticing something good in another person, genuinely noticing something good, and every single person has something good, has something positive. Every single, team member, we've got a team, by the way, a couple of teams here watching too. So shout out to Sonia Milic, who's brought her whole team along. Put your company name down in the comments, Sonia, and we'll mention them. So, seeing the good rather than the mistakes that we make, seeing the good in your team will actually make your whole team, your whole organization thrive. Your family, moving from what you don't like to what you do like will change your whole experience in your relationships with your family, with your friends, with life in general. So, and of course, the cause of the law of circulation and cause and effect says, what you give out is coming back to you, in tenfold. So you'll feel better too.
Yeah, it's a great way to be. It's a really, really good way to be. And I'll tell you that just for me, that was a lesson that I learned that really stuck. And I know it has propelled me in business really over anything else I can think of. And I look at my children, and my children do the same thing. If you ever, I don't know if you've ever met my son, Danny. He's come to some of the events, and
oh my goodness.
I mean, Danny just epitomizes it. He just makes everybody feel great in his presence. And, people want to deal with you when you're that kind of a person. It's maybe not as easy, but it's a great way to be. Nobody wants to be in a room with somebody that all they do is talk about themselves. It's like, oh my God, I can't get away from this person. But boy, if you run into somebody that asks you valuable questions and speaks to you and is interested in you, you just want to be around that person. And that's the way you want to be.
Absolutely, 100%. And I have met Danny, and Danny has such an aura. He'll walk past and there's a presence about your son, you know. It's a calm, loving, joyful, welcoming presence. And he looked so much like Bob too. He looks so much like Bob. So yeah.
Yeah. He had Dad's hair, not like me.
I just want to mention Gaslex Safety Company. Thank you so much. So they're the real estate sector with all things compliance. Thank you, Sonia, for bringing your whole team along to this workshop. You will get so much out of it today, all of you. Thank you. So we've spoken about quite a few things that Bob has shared with us and what we've learnt from Bob. You know, leaving everybody with an impression of increase. What a great way to do business. Can you imagine how your goals and how your KPIs could you know, increase 100-fold just by leaving people with an impression of increase? And we're not conditioned. I believe, Brian, this is our natural state, but we are conditioned to live in fear. We are conditioned by media, by, society to live in fear. So therefore, our conditioning becomes, looking for fearful things rather than the good. So we have to recondition our mind. And it's easy to do, you know, just going to get your coffee in the morning and seeing the good in the person that's serving the coffee. I want everybody here today to write 5 things down that you love about your team, about your clients, or about your family. So do that as soon as you get off this call today, and tell them. Make sure you tell them.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you just say that. It brings me back to another little thing that I used to do with Dad. We would often talk at like 5 a.m. in the morning. Both Dad and I were morning people, and so we'd always be up early, and he always knew he could call me. He knew I'd be up. And one of the things that we did is we would talk good about people behind their back.
Yes.
That was a phrase I kind of came up with. You know, how often do we get involved in gossip and nasty stuff with other people about somebody else? And it takes you down an energy draining path. It's not a good place to go. So Dad and we would start talking about somebody without them even knowing, and we would just talk good about them behind their back. And it was such an elevating experience. We both felt better because that's the way we spoke. And oftentimes, you know, we'd hang up from the phone, and I'd email or I'd text somebody and I'd just say, hey, you know, Dad and I were talking good about you behind your back today. And you knew it changed the course of their day. It was so much fun. And, you know, I challenge everybody that's watching this, the next time you get into a conversation with somebody and they're talking bad about somebody, they're getting into gossip, just say, well, that's interesting. And then turn the conversation around and say, you know, one thing I have found about this person is how great they are at this or that or whatever it may be, and turn it around to the positive and see what happens with the conversation and how it changes. But more importantly, how your energy changes and the energy of the person you're speaking with changes. Makes a big difference. Makes a really big difference.
Makes a huge difference on so many different levels. And everybody that has registered, you've got this beautiful workbook that has been designed by To the Moon. You know, they've decorated it for you. And in there's a few things for your morning routine. So what you do in the morning is really, really will help you for your success during the day. And Brian, I love this conversation because what that does, when you are in that state yourself, right, by seeing the good, it's not only lifting your vibration, so you need a higher vibration to manifest, to create with ease and flow, because we are the highest form of creation that we know of. But also what happens is you are freeing your marvelous mind to think higher. So you're able, so in your business, with your team, you are able to connect to solutions a lot more. You're able to connect to your higher faculty of intuition so that you know what the next step is. And you're able to align with your stronger self-image. And we're going to talk a little bit about your mind and your paradigms, but also your self-image. So studies show, and Bob was huge on self-image, studies now show that you must have a strong image, a strong self-image to achieve the big goals. Your self-image must align with the goal that you want. So if you're here with your team, you must have a strong team image aligned with your goal. Now, anybody that's talking negatively or bad behind someone's back, you're not able to elevate energetically and with your mindset to a strong self-image. Okay, so all of these lessons that we have learned from Bob connect beautifully to each other. Okay, so this is not just feeling good. Yes, we all want to feel good, but what it does to your mind, to your success, to being able to align with a stronger self-image, and also to your physical health is paramount.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think even to that point, that's the importance of having a mentor, working with somebody. My father, he's the first to tell you he had several mentors in his life. And every time he had somebody that was mentoring him, that was helping him live a better life, helped him focus on the positive, on how to be a better individual, how to be more successful, how to be more productive. Every time he started working with somebody, his business elevated. And that's what I love about what you do, Susanna. You really mentor people in a way that you really show them the light and how they can be better in a really easy way. I think that's what I like most. I think, we're all looking for a way to be better, to be more successful, to have a better business. And
yes,
none of us want to do the difficult stuff, let's face it. And you have really, I think, found a way that, you teach, just like my father did, really how to do these things in a simple way so that, in a matter of literally weeks to a month, your business can be completely different. And it's by doing simple things, but doing them consistently. And having a mentor really takes control and guides you through that process, which I think is a great thing.
Absolutely. And we saw how I changed, how my business changed, how my whole life changed. Like my friends that have known me are like, whoa, whole life, relationship, everything changed within a few years. And that was the point when Bob actually, mentored me and said, right, I see this in you. And I went from 4,000 to, I think it was high 700,000 business, where to the point where my accountant, I called him, it was November, and I said, Frank, we need to change the structure of my business. He's like, no, you don't. Your business made $4,000 last year. Susanna, I've been in this, industry for 50 years. He was an older man. You don't have to change your business. So that was November. And then February, Frank called me and said, what's going on? I've never seen this before. We really need to change the structure of your business. So this is how quickly things can change for you when you have somebody that has the background, the success, the knowledge, and can mentor you. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I love about it? What a mentor does really is enables you to have what we call a quantum leap.
Yes.
Rather than just doing a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. When you have a mentor, you have somebody that's working with you that knows what you're doing, what your issues are, what you need work on. They can guide you through that very quickly so that instead of just getting a little better, all of a sudden, woof, you're going to make a quantum leap and be that much better so much quicker. I can just see this one. Somebody just put, Susanna helped me increase my business by 140%. Think about that. That's incredible. And it's really the principle of having somebody that knows yourself, how the mind works, why we do the things we do, how we can change that. We all know how to do better, yet we don't do it. Why is that? And that's where I think you really come in, Susan. I think that's a gift that you have.
Yeah, thank you. And that's the knowing doing gap, Brian. So, I was a professional for 30 years, well, just under 30 years before I started, my own business and doing the work that I'm doing now. And, senior management, great organization. But what happened to myself as well as my team is we'd accumulate knowledge, accumulate. And we're living in a society where knowledge is accessible everywhere. We're in an information society. So people are jumping on board with workshops like these, accumulating knowledge, but their results don't change. They don't change that much. And I saw that in the organization that I work with. we go to training and we come back, and a month down the track, not much has changed. And what excites me about this work is every single one of you that is watching, that is here live, that is watching this recording. And please, if you are watching live, when you get the recording, repeat, watch over and over and over again, okay? Because it's the repetition. That's what I've learned from Bob. Repetition that will change your mind. But we need to actually start to apply the knowledge. Please don't just accumulate this knowledge that you're taking from this workshop today. Start to apply it.
Hey, I just see this popped up. Susanna helped me move to Italy or live in Italy. Here's the cool thing. When you find a mentor, somebody that can really help you alter your life, it's not always just about money. It can be about a way of living, about a way of being. And here's somebody here that just that's where they wanted to be, and you help guide them on how to do that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think that might be our Kelly Trebbiano. So I'm going to share, if I may. I hope you don't mind, Kelly. I'm going to share Kelly's story. So Kelly was a real estate agent. Her partner is Italian, and her son played soccer, and her dream was always to live in Italy. Mm-hmm. And she's like, how am I going to do this? My husband can't see it. My in-laws can't see it. How am I going to convince him? And I just said, Kelly, just trust yourself. Just keep, imagining, see yourself there, do the work, do what I tell you to do. And lo and behold, she's in Italy. She's loving Italy. I don't even know how it happened. It happened in a magical way. Her son's playing soccer in Italy, and she's living the dream. So, so absolutely amazing.
That's pretty awesome. I'm going to share one more story here, and then I want to ask you something about what exactly you do, Susanna. But and I think the reason why I want to share this is because I see this in you. So one of the things that my father he always said from stage, and I know you'll know this because this is you. My father always said a pro is at their best regardless. Does not matter what is going on outside of you. Your outside circumstances should never control how you are and how you act and how you present yourself. And I see that with you. You are always at your best, regardless, which is a real special gift. And I'll share this story to really drive it home. You would have been on this call too, which is the crazy thing. So my father passed away in February of 2022. I believe it was December of 2021 was the very last webinar he ever did. And Dad was in really rough shape. He was not doing well. He was primarily in a wheelchair just to get around because it was too tough for him to walk. Although he would try to walk, but he was in a lot of pain and just quite frankly wasn't doing well. I spent pretty much the last 6 months of his life up in Toronto, just being there to help him and do whatever I could with him. And boy, that's I'll never regret spending that time with him. But the last webinar he ever did, he was not well. It took us probably 2 hours to get him dressed. And if you know my father, he had to be dressed nicely, a nice custom suit, tie, shirt, the whole deal. And it took us almost 2 hours to get him dressed and ready, because we had to take our time. It hurt for him to move and everything. And his studio is in the backyard of their house up in Toronto. It was probably, I don't know, maybe 100 steps from the back door out to the studio. It was its own separate little building. And my father just loved that studio. Well, he had to get out of their studio. So I'm there, and my son was there, Danny. And we were on each side of him, and we helped him all the way out to the studio, got him set in this chair. And he sat there and he closed his eyes for a minute, and he just went into a peaceful state. And then when it was time to do his session, he was doing a live webinar. He did it for, gosh, I think it was a good 45 minutes to an hour. If you were there, you would have never known that he was in pain or that he was hurting or that he was sick. Nothing. He gave his best regardless of what was going on in his outside world. That is a lesson right there. And he delivered everything. He was focused on who he was teaching to and how he could help them. And that was what was important to him. And that's where he was. He was at his best regardless. When that was over, we wheeled him back to the house, and he basically laid on the couch and fell asleep. And he was pretty much toasted for the rest of the day. But that 45 minutes that he was on, you had the very best of Bob Proctor at that moment. And that's incredible. I mean, that's an extreme example, but that's how I see you show up, Susanna. You are always at your best regardless, and your clients get the best of you. That's a great thing. And the fact that you're always there helping them, making sure that, you are teaching them the best of what you know and how they can live a better life. I think that's a gift. Not a lot of people have that. So I commend you on that.
Thank you so much. It becomes a purpose. It's a deeper purpose. Mm-hmm. It's not a business. It's a deeper purpose. And I absolutely love that story about Bob. Like, that's what you call a maestro, He lived and breathed this material. Brian, I have had many people ask me, is Bob the real deal? You've got to know him a little bit. Is he really, who he is on stage? Was he really genuine? My gosh, he was the most genuine, authentic mentor and leader that I have ever experienced. And I remember one day one of the top consultants asked him a question, and he brought up the D word. And I want you all to write this D word down, because in today's society, not many of us like it. And he said, you know what you need to this consultant? You need discipline. And she said, such an incredible person. And she said, but I don't like that word, Bob. Discipline, I don't like it. I don't like discipline. And he said, that's because you associate it with your school teacher or your parent. But he said, discipline is what's going to get you the life that you want. Discipline is what's going to bring you joy, love, happiness, success, financial success, great relationships. And that's what Bob was. He was the big D, discipline to a T. And that example, that story that you shared, Brian, shows how disciplined our incredible mentor, your father, Bob, was.
Yeah, well, I can tell you he was the man you saw on stage. That really is who he was. I don't even know if Dad knew how special he was. I remember the memorial, and it was a tough time for me, no secret. And reading we did an online memorial for him. There was a few 100,000 people on it. That was astounding to me. And the comments, it took me days to get through the comments, but he touched people all around the world. It was really, really something. And, for those of you that don't know, he's really a pioneer in the industry. He started this industry back in the late 1960s. Yes. And, he did it at a time when it was not a popular thing to do. What you're doing now, Susanna, is a very popular thing.
Yes,
but
it is.
There's not a lot of people that are gifted like you that can truly help people, though. And that's the difference. So, he led the way, and now there's people like yourself that are carrying it on. And I think that's a great thing.
Yes.
I would love if you can share, we talked a little bit before we got on about a program that you're doing that you're limiting to, I believe, just 10 people. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So the Your Two Minds Success Magnet has never been delivered before. So people that are watching this are very, very lucky, because I'm only taking 10 people on board. And what I have done with my experience being mentored from Bob Proctor, I have created a program that's going to focus on your mind, your body, and your spirit to take you to greater success. So it's a 11 lesson program for 3 months. This is a great time to start, because we're going into a new year. We're ending this year. So you want to build a foundation for success for yourself, for your team, for your business, for your relationships, for meeting your soulmate, whatever it is. You want to build that foundation now, and that strong self-image. You want to understand the success principles now before you go into the new year.
Well, I love that you're doing this. I think, as you say, the timing is absolutely perfect. Everybody typically thinks January is the time to start, and that's when they start setting their goals and doing all of that. Now is the time to start, and you're going to be going through this, that you're full into it in January. And
Absolutely.
What I love, Susanna, is that you don't open this up to hundreds of people. You literally just opened it to 10 people, and you work intimately with those 10 people, and you really help guide them to a better way of living. And I know this sounds like a big sales thing, and I guess it partly is, but it's working with Susanna, because I've seen it. And you've got testimonials from all kinds of people that have worked with you. You are really going to be guided to a better life. I don't know what it is that you are looking for and what you want to improve in your life, but I promise you, I see that Susanna is so intuitive. That is so true. Susanna will find what it is that you need to live a better life in whatever area you need. That's a really cool thing. And I know that when you only open it to 10 people, so the first 10 people in, that's it. I think that's a cool thing. They get to work very intimately with you. I think you've got some pretty cool bonuses in there for people that do join. I know that Susanna asked me the other day, she said, Brian, would you mind coming on and doing a Q&A with the group once we have it? And I said, of course, I'd be happy to.
That's right.
So, I get the privilege that I will host a call that it will just be an easy Q&A. You can ask me whatever the heck you want. Nothing is off limits, and I'll share whatever I can share that will help you wherever you're at. I said to Susanna I was going to offer something else that she doesn't know about, and I would like to do that right now. So there's something that my father did at our 1% event. We had one event that we ran twice, and it was an expensive event. It was $60,000 to attend, and it was 5 days, and that was it. And it was $60,000. And we always sold out. It was really a spectacular event. And it was similar to this. It was a small group. Now, in that one, I think we had about 30 people, whereas yours is only 10 people. With the 30 people, one of the things he did during those 5 days is he had what he called a hot seat. And he would have somebody up in front of everybody else. And it was just a one-on-one dialogue for about 30 minutes. And in that 30 minutes, he got to know what they needed. He could share how that could be helped. Here's the cool thing is that whatever that person needed, there's other people that were in the room that were like getting value from that as well, because a lot of us are in the same kind of place. So what I'm going to throw in here, and you'll have to figure out how we work this, Susanna, I will happily do, I guess it's 5 sessions with this group. It is 30 minutes per person. So each session we'll do 2 people. So if you want to have a hot seat, and this hot seat is not a hot seat that's going to put you in a terrible place. It is going to help you beyond help you. We'll do 5 sessions within your 3-month program that will be just the 2 of us with the people, and 2 people will be picked for each session. We'll have a 30-minute hot seat on each session, and we will help you personally, specifically with whatever your issues are and how we can help you. And if there's connections that I have out in the world that can help you in your business, there's people I can connect you with that will make things better for you, I will do that. I know a lot of people in the business world. So Susanna did not know I was going to do that. I'm doing that because I guess really two things. Number one is I truly love Susanna. I think you are a special lady. My father loved you. I think you're doing great work. And I know in my heart that you have your client's best interest in mind. And that's a gift. There's not many people like that. I have nothing to gain by doing this. I just want to give, and I want to help you, Susanna. And one thing my father loved was decision makers, people that could make a decision to do something and then just get on with it. So the first 10 people here that make a decision to get into Susanna's program, I don't know if there's a link or how that's working, but the first 10 people that get in, I will do that with you. We will have a 30-minute hot seat per person. And
wow,
there'll be a lot of value there. I promise you that.
Wow. I don't even know what to say. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. I can see how incredible Vesna has put the link up. Oh my goodness. I want to join this program. Can I join? I don't know what to say. I really don't know. This is just incredible.
Well, I just think you're a special person. And I know that the 10 people that get involved in this, it's not an easy decision. I realize it's not a small sum of money, but it's not a huge sum of money either. And I promise you that this sum of money to get involved in this with a small group of people, you're going to reap that back so many times if you take the material and apply it. And I know Susanna, I know who she is. She is going to help you in spades. And because of that, I am willing to jump in and do what I can do as well to help you in whatever way I can.
Oh my goodness.
That was good.
Wow, Brian. Wow, wow, wow. This is Bob Proctor talking. Like, this is who he was. This is how he brought up his children. Guys, you've got to jump on. Like, it's 5997. This is a 65,000 USA program. That's what Bob used to do. That's what people would pay to get this type of coaching. Jump on board. I'm only taking 10 people. I cannot wait. Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Susanna.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I
I hope whoever is watching this, you take advantage of this right away, because you might not even know what you're going to get. But I promise you, if you jump in and do it, you're going to be happy. You're going to be happy. I see Tom Laverty on here. Hello, Tom. He's a special man right there.
He is a special man. Wow, Tom. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is even for my existing clients. Jump on board. Seriously, you know what the Your Two Minds coaching program does. Can you imagine having Brian on board too? My gosh. My gosh. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you. I'm beyond words. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to do what I can. I'm glad to do what I can to help. I love the name of your program, Success Magnet. That resonates with me. Ever since I was a young kid, Dad had always impressed on me that we are like a magnet and we attract whatever it is that we're thinking. And my gosh, if we can harness what we're thinking and direct it in a positive way and zero it in on what we really want and what we want to achieve, we will be a success magnet. We will attract to us all the good that we're looking for. And it's not difficult. It's not difficult, to harness the power of the mind and gain control of the way we're thinking. And that's your gift, Susanna. So, that's why I'm happy to support this in whatever way I can.
Thank you. So many people are saying, thank you, Brian. Susanna and Brian, private coaching, amazing opportunity. So many comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just amazing. Look at this. And Vesna, if you could please we've got an incredible team member at Your Two Minds. She's an exceptional young woman, has been in finance, worked in senior management. She's wanted to help us. If you could please just put the link up for everybody right now, that would be amazing. We'll just put it up so people can find it. I am forever grateful for you, Brian. You know, and we're talking about changing our mind and changing our paradigms. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from your father about, you know, breaking through and changing those subconscious paradigms, which sometimes are difficult to change?
Yeah, they can be very difficult to change. So really, the best way to change paradigms is through repetition. You know, there's really two ways to change a paradigm. Emotional impact, which doesn't happen very often. That's, you know, somebody is killed or passed away, or
Yeah.
you know something catastrophic. That will change a paradigm for sure. But most of the time, we don't have those big emotional impact things that happen. We need to change it through repetition, and it comes down to, what are your daily routines? What are your daily habits? What are you doing every morning when you get up? What are you focused on? And how are you getting through that? How are you setting up your day? And you know, that's really it. And that's, I think it's going to be fun. I think I'm looking at this as an experiment. I think that you know, the 10 people that get on board with you, let's face it, there's just 10. So the first 10, that's it. After that, it's cut off.
That's it.
And
Wow.
you know, because there'll only be 10 people in the group. There will not be 11 in the group.
Wow. That's right.
We're going to have some fun with this. This is not going to be something that you're going to be uncomfortable with. We're going to enjoy this journey. We're going to have some fun with it. I know Susanna has so many great things that she is going to be able to help you with. I will do the best in whatever I can to help you. And let's make this a fun journey and watch what happens in your world. I have seen too many times over my lifetime, people that get involved in things like this, what happens after the fact is just spectacular. And if you're looking for a better life, a better way to live, more success, whether it's your own business or in whatever part of your life you want, this is a great way to do it.
Absolutely. 2024 will be your turning point.
That's right.
It really will. I remember the day, 2018, it was when my turning point happened. That week that I spoke to my accountant, I will never, ever forget that. I remember when I was...
That made you feel pretty good too, did it?
Oh my God. You know, Brian, we all know that we have it. Like, I knew I had it inside me, but the frustration was I just couldn't break through. And I think a lot of people, everyone here today, they're intelligent. A lot of them are business owners, parents. They've had quite a successful life. I think most people know that they have it in them deep down inside, but they just find it difficult to break through. And Brian, when that happened, you know, one thing that Bob would always say, which I didn't quite understand, and I want every single person here today to experience this, and the 10 people that jump on board will experience this. Absolutely, they will, because you will not get anyone better than Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor's not around anymore. So you've got the next best thing, probably even better than Bob, because he's grown up all his life with Bob and one of his top consultants. You will not get this anywhere. So anyone that is joining us will actually experience this. So one of the things that I'd hear Bob say over again, and I didn't quite understand it, was he would say that, you know, goals are not necessarily forgetting. You know, it's not to actually obtain the thing that you want. He would say that they're about you being a fuller expression of who you truly are. And I didn't understand that, because I just wanted my whole life, I wanted an international company where I was helping people achieve their dreams. So I'm like, well, what can be better than that? And that week that things just changed for me, there was so much pride, and it felt great to finally have had that company. It felt great to be doing my purpose in the world. It felt great to achieve my goal. So my goal when I was in the job was to replace my six-figure income. So I was earning about $150,000. I wanted that to be my monthly income. I replaced that in 7 days, a number of times doing this work. So when that happened, it was a great feeling. It was fantastic. I had money, you know, I wasn't living from paycheck to paycheck any longer. But that wasn't the greatest thing. The greatest thing for me was who I became. I was different, and I knew I would never go back to who I was before.
Right.
And I was still the same person, but I was a bigger, fuller expression, a fuller version of who I was created to be, of who I was here on earth, why this life was gifted to me as Susanna. And I share that with my clients, and I want every single person watching this to know that you have diamonds, you have jewels inside you that are more expensive than what money can buy. I remember being in Tiffany & Co. On Fifth Avenue, and my friends and I, Tanya and Daniela, who might be here today watching, we were admiring, we were drooling over the diamonds that Audrey Hepburn wore in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And they had a security guard next to this, you know, neck piece, right? So it was worth millions and millions. And it was such a great experience. It was drool. That's all I could say. But you know what I discovered? I remembered that experience when I achieved my goal. What I have inside me is way more beautiful, way more precious, and way more expensive than what those diamonds were.
Yeah. And
that is exactly like you. You're watching this for a reason. You didn't come to this workshop just to see Susanna. You probably came to see Brian, Bob Proctor's son. But the reason why you're here, you wanted to see Brian and Susanna because you knew that we have something for you. You knew that you want to change your life. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you're struggling, okay? This is why it's so important to have that big, big dream and to go for it and get the guidance that you want, because what you're going to discover, yes, the success is fantastic. The money is great. The experiences are great. Having wonderful relationships with your partner, with your family are absolutely priceless. But what you'll discover is beyond any of that. Those diamonds, those precious jewels inside you are there for a reason. They're not meant to be dormant. They're not meant to be hiding. And the only way you can make those diamonds shine and have this experience is to make a decision. Make a decision that next year is going to be the year that you're going to experience yourself, your jewels, because they're in there. And this life is a gift. It's a gift to you. We take life for granted. But this day, this moment is a gift. You are not here by coincidence. You're not on this live event by coincidence. You're here for a reason. And you, my friend, you that are watching this, you are a gift to life. If you're here with your team, like Sonia is with her team, you are in this team for a reason. You've got KPIs, you've got, goals in your team for a reason, and that reason is to serve. And once you start to connect and understand the truth of who you are, what's inside you, your jewels, your diamonds, your mindset, you are able to change the world in your unique way. But you can't do it unless you start, unless you decide.
I like that, Ali. That's good. Well, thank you, Susanna. I agree with you. And Dad always said, when you attain a great goal, it's a wonderful thing that achieving the goal is always a nice thing, but the
Yes.
growth that takes place getting there is everything. And I look back on my life and some of the big goals that I achieved when I was first starting out. I'm thinking, oh my God, I have no idea how I'll do this. But by the time I got there, it was like, wow, okay, this was easier than I thought. And that big goal now is like nothing. I can go for bigger goals now. But the growth that you attain on the way, that's the deal. It's the awareness that you gain along the way. And I think that's what's special about working with somebody like you, is that you open up that awareness factor. You really show people how to achieve their dreams, what they need to do, the kind of mindset they have to have, and how to battle, I think, the mindset of that self-talk that sometimes shuts us down. So, I congratulate you. I think this is an amazing offer. I think it's kind of cool that you just work with 10 people. I think that's a special thing. You're not opening it up, like I said, to hundreds of people. You're going to work with a group, and you're going to work with them closely to make sure they achieve their dream. That's something special. So I'm glad you're doing it. I'm happy to do my little part to help out. And like I say, let's have some fun with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you again with all of my heart, Brian. I want to just briefly talk about the power of decision. The power of decision absolutely changed my life. And if you want to win in life, you need to learn how to make decisions quickly. And that's another lesson that I learned from the incredible Bob Proctor. So I remember back in 2017, February 2017, Bob said two things that I get chills right now every time I think about this moment. This was before I had ever met Bob. This was before I was a consultant. It was that moment that I decided, right, I've got to do this. I didn't even know you could work with Bob. And he said, the first thing, winners make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Losers make decisions slowly and change them quickly. That statement resonated in every cell of my body, because for years and years I had been dreaming about helping people around the world, working for myself, helping people break through. That dream was in me as a child, and to become an author. Yet I spent decades waiting for the right moment. I had a mortgage. What would my parents say? What would the boss say? You know, I was in my 40s and I was worried about what my parents would say, leaving a safe job and going out on my own. All of these excuses, all of these paradigms. And when Bob said that, February 2017, I did not want to lose. I could not afford to lose. I wanted to be a winner. You see, the thing is, we're never taught at school about ourselves and about how to make decisions. So we look at other people and we say, what do you think I should do? What do you think the right decision is? I tell you all right now, back in 2017, when I left my job, I had no income. For what, the first time ever in my life, my adult life, that I had no income come in. I didn't want to go on the dole, the government payments, because I just didn't want that energy. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just didn't want that type of energy. It just wasn't right for me. So what that meant was there was not a cent coming in from anywhere. First time ever, $500,000 in debt. What if I asked somebody back then, and I get chills, Brian, every time I think about this, I feel them right now. What if I asked my boss, my friend, my parents, what do you think I should do? Every single person would say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're mad. You have a job. You've got $500,000 in debt. Go back to your job. Thank goodness. None of us would be here right now. Brian, I would not know you now. all of these beautiful people from my community here would not be here right now if I listened, or if I asked other people to make the decision for me. Thank goodness I only tuned into myself. I tuned into what I wanted. And yes, it was crazy. It was a crazy decision to the world. But guess what? Crazy people change the world.
Hey, you know what? I was reading something the other day that really struck me. And it said, can you imagine anybody talking to Henry Ford or Thomas Edison back in the day? And their goal was, you know, the car, the V8 engine, the electric light bulb. People would have thought they were nuts. You know, how are you going to create something like that? Where is that coming from? They would have thought they were nuts. But look what happened. Look what they did. Those are people that betted on themselves and just forged their way and moved forward. And look how they changed the world. And we've all got that in us. We just need to find what it is that we want and get help in getting there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. We have covered so much today, Brian. I cannot say in words how grateful I am for you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us all today. I am so grateful to call you one of my dear friends, one of my dear mentors. I just feel so blessed to have you a part of my life, a part of the Your Two Minds community now. So thank you. I am so super grateful.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne. It's been really good to be here. I appreciate it. And as I said, I'd be willing to do anything for you. I think you're a special woman, and you've got the gift. So I'm happy to do whatever I can. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. For those of you that are watching from all over the world, and I know some of you couldn't attend the live, you're going to get the recording. Thank you for joining us. You all have an incredible workbook. Please work through that workbook, okay? Decide what it is that you want, okay? So we've covered so much here today. We've covered the power of clarity. And if you don't know what you want, jump on board to Success Magnet. We'll help you, okay? We'll help you. You'll get there, okay? So decide what it is that you want. Desire. How deep is your desire for change? Because if it was as deep as mine, as deep as Brian's, as deep as Bob's was, you will succeed. You will make the right decision. Imagination. Be the person. Be there. Okay. Remember my imagination when I was driving to work. Okay. Self-image. Your paradigms. So much we've covered today. And the power of having a mentor. My dear Vesna, if you can put the link down in the comments again, I look forward to seeing who's joined us. Brian, I'll let you know who has joined our program, and we're going to get ready to work with you. We're going to give you an individual call. I'll get in touch with every single one of you during the week just to talk you through the process. And you are going to change your life. You're going to change your team. You're going to change your own life. It's going to be absolutely extraordinary. Quantum leaps, here we come. From $4,000 to high $700,000 business in less than 12 months. What if I chose in 2017 to take the easy option? Don't have money. I won't get coaching. Okay, we all know where I'd be. I'd be miserable in my job, not knowing what I had missed out, not knowing that Bob Proctor, my dream, was waiting for me. Brian was waiting for me. And we are all waiting for you. Thank you so much. We're going to have, if you can just stay with us for a few more minutes, we've got some powerful women from the Your Two Minds community that are going to join us now. So Anita, Michelle, Ali, Angie, if you can come backstage, you want to hear from these incredible women. Have the most incredible day. And I look forward, Brian and I both look forward to taking you to the next quantum leap in Success Magnet. Let's do this.
I just got to close out myself and just say, I hope whoever is watching this, that you take advantage of this, that you're one of the 10. And if you are, I look forward to meeting you. And I know Susanna will definitely look forward to meeting you. She is a special woman that will guide you in ways that you would have never even dreamed of. And I'm excited to take part and do what I can to help you on your path as well. So I look forward to meeting you.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
What an amazing hour and a half that was. Oh my goodness sakes.
Incredible.
God, amazing. Wow. What can we
Just
say?
incredible. And thank you, Susanna, for following your dream, or none of us would be here. Oh, that was powerful and so very, very true. Thank you, Susanna, so much. My name is Michelle Poole. I'm from the United States. I am the business owner of Reclaim Balance. I am an energy sound therapy practitioner, as well as an emotion code and body code practitioner. And my goodness, there are so many highlights from the workshop. I don't think I can pick just one, but Susanna truly does show you how to live a better life. And I've been working with Susanna since 2018, right about the time that I started my business. And so it's 5 years ago. And every single year since 2018, my business has grown tremendously. That was the best decision I could have made, was to choose to start working with Susanna in 2018. Every single thing they said in the workshop about the results you would get, I have experienced. And I am not disappointed. It is one of the best decisions I ever made, was to work with her. And I continue to work with her to this day. And I probably will for the foreseeable future. It's just amazing. And I'm hoping there's a spot left in the 10 by the time I get off of this. Because I haven't had a chance to check that out. So Allie or Anita, would you like to add what your experiences have been with Susanna?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the same. I came into Susanna's world in 2018, and for anybody here listening today, having Susanna as your coach, if you have a desire, a dream, or even if you don't even know what your purpose is yet, but you know something needs to change and you want something bigger and better out of life, she is the person to work with. And I'm actually an artist, and my purpose and my desire and my mission was to, with my art, empower people to really be proud of who they were and embrace who you are and express yourself. Because for me, I came from a world where I grew up in a doomsday cult, and there was always the fear of expressing ourselves and being proud of who we are. And along my journey, it was a series of breakdowns and trying to pick myself back up out of the dirt, that Susanna came along and I started this self-empowerment journey. And through her, and I remember one of the first things she actually said to me was that we are all made of stars. And at that time, I had so many limiting beliefs. I was so crushed. I'd gone through depression. And I remember just thinking, what the hell are you talking about? I couldn't even see the beauty that we have within and the power that we have within. I was in such a broken place, but I still had in the back of my mind this vision to be this artist. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. And so working with her for 6 months, oh my God, opened up my world, changed who I was, helped me get rid of all these limiting beliefs and just really power ahead. And to be where I am now is because of her. So anybody that is sitting on the fence or is feeling that call, go for it. Success Magnet, I can guarantee, and Susanna, I can guarantee, will change everything for you.
Allie?
Yeah.
Would you like to share?
Oh, of course, of course. Look, I'm completely blown away. Firstly, completely blown away about today's session. It was just amazing. It was an honour to be in their presence. But I'm Ellie Walsh from Walsh Brown Property here in Melbourne. So I'm a buyer's agent, vendor's advocate, and also a publisher. My few takeaways from today was that they were great reminders of the work that we've been learning I've been with Susanna, I think, since 2020, maybe a bit earlier than that. But the big one was the one that Brian mentioned, making everyone you speak to feel important, the MMFI. It's not all about us. No one wants to hear us talking just about ourselves, but it's about making people feel important. The gold nugget from Susanna was applying the knowledge. So taking in the lessons and applying it to every day. I know that we can get caught up in our day, caught up in the shitty days, and we forget to keep applying those lessons, remembering the gratitude, the discipline that she mentioned also. I think that's really important to keep applying the knowledge. But I've been working with her for a couple of years. I took the leap of faith. I was scared. My husband wasn't very supportive, but I took the leap of faith, and it has changed my life and my family's life for the better. I always knew there was something better out there for me, but I didn't know how to navigate that in the world that we live in. And they've certainly, played a big part in my transition over the years. So I've seen working with Susanna, making 4 times the amount I was when I first started. My family and I are now debt-free. I'm more confident in what I want to do, what I want to achieve. The biggest thing, though, is for my kids. They've been listening to Bob and Susanna in the background for years as well. And I can see that they've also taken some of those learnings and applied it to their own lives without even realizing it. That was probably my biggest thing that I've seen. But the tips is, for me, I just wanted to add some tips before, I'm sorry, I keep going on, but the tips is listen to Bob and Susanna every day, even if you're having a shitty day. Live, work, and love in gratitude whilst also remembering mindset is key. My only regret is not having found this sooner. I wish I had found this sooner when I was younger. And even though I haven't got to my big goal yet, the prospect of my future is so bloody exciting. Thank you, Susanna and Brian, for having us on today. Thanks, Michelle.
Yes. I think the common thread between the three of us, and hopefully Angie comes back on, is that it's changed every aspect of our life by working with Susanna. Not just our professional goals, but our personal goals too. It bleeds into every aspect of your life. And I don't remember the person I was 5 years ago. The person 5 years ago when I started working with Susanna would never do or take the chances or work out of my comfort zone like I do today. Working out of my comfort zone doesn't even really bother me anymore. It feels normal to me to be outside my comfort zone. So, yeah.
And isn't it interesting, Michelle, when you make that, as Susanna and Brian were talking about, and what Bob always talks about, when you make that decision, and at the time when I had to make that decision, I was broke. I had no money to do the training, and I was scared as anything. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And Susanna's just like, just make the decision. And so I went for it. And so everything that they teach you, it's not only giving you so much growth. Again, you don't recognize the person you were. Like you said, Michelle, you just become a completely different person, and you put so much back into the world, because our purpose isn't just about us. It's how we empower the collective consciousness. It's bigger than us. And it's just, you need a really good coach to help you tap into that.
Yes, I've never worked with a mentor before. When I started working with Susanna in 2018, and I got like 6 months in, I'm like, oh, this is what this is all about, working with a mentor. Yeah. All right, this is the real deal. Yeah, and I got it's very exciting. Hi, Angie.
Yeah.
Hi.
Angie.
So much for technical difficulties.
Angie, we're just sharing a little bit of our experiences with working with Susanna. Would you like to share some of yours?
Yeah, unfortunately, I could hear what your experience was, and I agree totally. Working with Susanna has been amazing. I'm that person that put in the chat that working with Susanna has increased my business income 140% in just the last 2 years that I've worked with her. And it's worked so well, I decided to jump on for a 3rd year. And I already signed up for the Success Magnet. I made that quick decision. So come on and join me. Yeah, working with Susanna it's made a difference in my relationship with God, which is precious to me. Increased my business, like I've said. I've learned so much about myself and how I think. And when I hit that brick wall, Susanna knows just what to say to help me get through that. And I've actually had a door that recently opened for me to help uh, achieve my personal goal that I have. So working with Susanna has just been a life changer in a lot of areas. So, yeah.
I've personally seen you grow, Angie. I'm so proud to be able to call you a friend, and you came to visit us in Australia, and I know that you said that probably wouldn't have been possible without having met Susanna.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, I'm Angie Spahn of Angie Spahn's Liberating Hypnosis, and talking about crazy ideas. I was a school teacher for 34 years, and I retired, and I thought, well, I'm at the time was only 57 years old. And I thought I can do something else with my life. And I searched around. My husband kind of said, no, I don't want you doing that. And no, I don't want you doing this. And finally I said, I found something that I wanted to do, which was hypnotherapy. And I knew if I told him, he was going to say, no, I don't want you doing that, because he wanted, subconsciously, he wanted me to stay home with him. And I'm like, well, that's great. I want to be home with you too. But there are other things I still want to do with my life besides sit around a house and do things around here. So I signed up for a hypnotherapy program and didn't tell anybody. So, and like Brian and Susanna was saying, when you do something that's big and it's crazy and everybody says it's crazy, yeah, it's crazy. But now that I've done some hypnotherapy and I've seen success in what I do, and they have seen success in what I do, helping people stop smoking or lose weight or let go of anxiety, you name it. And I've had some great success. And now the naysayers are like, oh, you're doing pretty good with that. So, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, and I find that interesting, Angie, because me being an artist, the naysayers for me was the whole starving artist thing. You'll never make any money out of art. You'll never get anywhere. Get a real job. The family couldn't see the vision or believe in it. But when you actually know in your heart and you have that desire and it's meant for you, with someone behind you that supports you, you can just do amazing things and really blow them away with your success. And what you put into that is even bigger than what you imagined, the way that you inspire people. So, yeah, for me, Susanna helped me get rid of the starving artist scarcity mentality, which was huge.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you were on the cover of Forbes magazine recently.
Yeah. So, which was fun. And look, if you had asked me that 5 years ago, I would never have believed it. And so my vision to be do these commissions for high-end people and empower them to be, express their sexuality and not be ashamed of it. And now I'm working with Hollywood celebrities and I'm doing magazine covers, and it's like, what? Who is this person? The previous person was a scared little, person who'd run away from a cult and didn't know where she was going in life. So, yeah, the things that you can do are beyond your wildest dreams. Absolutely, when you start on that path.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I've gotten the cue from Susanna to wrap it up.
We could talk all day.
Okay. Wrap it up. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much. So
thank you.
Susanna
and Brian.
Yes, that's the real deal. Thank you, Brian, for joining us. It was wonderful to meet you.
Yep.
So, Shell.
Bye, everybody.